Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Maximizing Your Potential. Thank you for joining me today. I hope that you're having a fantastic day, wherever you may be around this globe. It certainly is a beautiful morning, and it's a beautiful morning to, get out there and, take in the fresh sunshine and the fresh air, put it that way, and a beautiful sunshine. It's such a beautiful day. Now, let me ask you this. Did you remember to get up this morning and frame your day? Framing your day. Some of you may not know what I'm talking about, but framing your day is when you get up and before you get in the presence of others. This is what I do in the morning. Before I get in the presence of others, before I come on this broadcast, before I get, in the presence of even the people who are around me on a day to day basis, I get in the presence of God and I empty myself out before Him. And I ask Him to fill me with whatever I need for that day. And then I get in the mirror and I speak to myself. I say, self, and whatever I want to tell myself, whatever I want to speak to myself, I look myself directly in the eyes and I motivate myself. I inspire myself. I tell myself that I'm going to have a great day, that this day is going to be successful. A lot of times, people just go through the day stumbling. But I found out, and I've been doing this for years, and I found out if you get in the day, when you get up in the morning, okay, and you frame your day, even though things may come to encroach upon your day, but it sets your day. It sets your day. And it does something to the inside of you. It gives you a different mindset, a different perspective, most importantly, of who you are. Who you are. A lot of times we're so concerned about, talking to others, but how about talking to ourselves and inspiring ourselves and motivating ourselves and telling ourselves that, you're beautiful, that I'm successful, I'm beautiful, I'm a winner, I'm an achiever. I could do what I set my mind to do. All of those things, and that should even be a part of self-care, taking care of self. Because how can you pour from an empty cup? You first have to be filled. You first have to, recognize some things and acknowledge some things about yourself before you could say, I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that. Because many times when you don't acknowledge those things, when you don't set your day, when you don't set yourself up for success, then in the middle of the day or even in the morning, you get news or you get, a phone call or a knock at the door or, an email or whatever. And it does something in your day, it causes a disruption. So, remember to get up and, frame your day. Frame your day. And, how it works for you. I'm just giving you what I do. And I know this is something that works for me. So find out what works for you. And I promise you, it will make a difference in your life. I don't know, y'all, where my throat has gone, my voice, but ever since I came back from my vacation, it seems that, I've been hoarse. And I know with the climate change and, the different atmospheres, there's some things I have to deal with. But nevertheless, okay, nevertheless, we're here. And I'm glad to, be back in front of you and, seeing you here, even if you're not in the comment section. I want to acknowledge all of my visitors, all of my fans, all of my, associates. I appreciate you. And, your feedback says a lot. It says a lot and it means a lot to us here at Turning Point in Richmond. So, maximizing your potential and stop leaving money on the table, maximize it. Find out who you are and be unapologetic about it, and go with that because you only have one life to live. That's all. That's all we have. So make it your best. Live your life. Don't go through life existing. Go through life appreciating who you are and live your life to the fullest. Now, I mentioned yesterday about a course that I am preparing. Matter of fact, it's in the final stages right now. And it's talking about building self esteem and self confidence for women. And why women? Well, number one, I'm a woman myself. And I know um, what it has taken for me to have self confidence, to have self esteem. Where one time in my life, there was a period in my life where I didn't like anything about myself. I didn't like my voice. I didn't like my looks. I didn't like my name. I didn't like, the tone of my voice. That's what it was. I didn't like my hair. I didn't like my skin tone. I didn't like anything about myself. And not until I came into a realization of who I was did things begin to change. And I appreciate who I am. And many of you out there, you may be feeling some type of way about yourself, about not appreciating who you are, about, trying to find yourself. And I put that out there. And, I've heard people say that over the years. Oh, I got to get away. I'm trying to find myself. Or maybe there's situations and circumstances that people think if they change a job or if they change locations, whether that's within a city or whether that's, in a different state or a different country, that things will change. And that's not necessarily so. Because you have to remember, change begins on the inside of you. It begins on the inside of each and every one of us. And not until we deal with that inner change will things around us begin to change. You know, our world, our world, the way you think about yourself, the way you see yourself, the way that others may see you is not the same as the way you see yourself. And that's what makes the big difference. It's the way that you see yourself, whether you're going to live your life to the fullest or whether you're going to stumble through life and just exist. Like I tell you, I was just existing. I wasn't truly living. So if you'd like to find out more about this course that's coming up, you could go to that information that's scrolling at the bottom of the screen and, get on that Zoom call with me and, let me hear what you're talking about. And I could really see if this is something that will benefit you. Because I did some research and I found out that I think it was Wealthy Her Network had did a study, and the stats said that 79% of women suffer from some form of low self-esteem and low self-confidence. And that's a high number when you think about it, because if you really think about it, how much are we as women involved in? We're involved in many, many things. And for us to not see the value that we have inside of ourselves and go through life stumbling and go through life complaining and going through life, not happy, there's something that we should really stop and take a look at and face it, do something about it. Because life is made to be enjoyed, not just hopping along, suffering through, or dragging yourself through life. Ladies, there's so much more to you that than you can even realize. And you have to really sit down and say to yourself, coming to the end of yourself, that enough is enough. I no longer want to live this way. I want to enjoy life. I want to be able to be joyful, not happy. Because, happy is fleeting. Happy is the surface effect, but joy. When you joyful, it does something to the inside of you. There's a difference. It lights you up. It allows you to press through things that you once stumbled through in life. Joy. That joy unspeakable and full of glory. That joy, that brings that radiance to your countenance, that brings that radiance to your existence, that causes the atmosphere wherever you are to shift, to light up, to be electrified. All of that's on the inside of you. But you have to realize it, or you have to know it's there. Number one, you have to know it's there and receive those things. Receive your greatness, receive your awesomeness, receive your value, and walk in it. Walk in it. You receive it. You acknowledge it. You're joyful. You walk in it. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Some of these things, some of these things that you may have been faced with to help you to get a better understanding of what you're dealing with. Because, sometimes you might not even know what you're dealing with. You're just, going through life haphazardly. But today we're going to face some things. Is that all right with you? Today we're going to face some things. Because, ladies, I'm concerned about you. I know how it was one time in my life. A lot of things. Your life is full of, different scenarios, different things that, even though things may not have gone so smoothly in your life, you could always use those things for the benefit of helping others. Helping others. Because I believe that what you have on the inside of you could change the trajectory of someone's life. There's so much value in you. There's so much brilliance in you. And you're not even realizing it because, number one, you don't see it. And maybe you never had this conversation with anyone. And that's why this is a talk show. And I want you to talk back to me, whether online we do it in the chat, or if you, are shy or anything of that nature. And that's another thing that goes in with this, not, seeing your value in yourself. I don't want you to be shy because I'm going to tell you, I was shy at one time. You might say, well, Gertrude, I can't believe that because you're always talking. But there was one time in my life that I was shy. And that was like when I was growing up during high school. I remember I had a speech class, and the speech class was in the first period. And each of us were called up to present something for a minute. And I'm going to tell you, that was a scary time for me. I dreaded that because I didn't feel like I had anything to say. I stumbled through if I had something to say. And a minute is a long time when you're coming from, the position of shyness, being shy. So I know what that feels like. I know what it is, to be shy and not wanting to communicate back. But you have, ladies, you have a lot of value. You have a lot to say. And what comes out of your mouth is something that someone else needs to know about. Whether, you're that author who is writing that book, you have so much to say, so much to offer somebody, or you're that entrepreneur, whether it's a brick or mortar business or a virtual business, in your products and your services, or if you're a speaker. And, there's so much about you that maybe you even haven't even scratched the surface. There's some of you in different categories. Some of you have scratched the surface. Some of you have not even come to the surface. You're hiding under excuses. You're hiding under things. And you're hiding your light from shining. There's some of you who have come above the surface, but there's still apprehension. You get those butterflies in your stomach when it's time for you to come before a crowd, to do a presentation or a speech or present your products or services, whatever it may be. All of those things have to do with confidence and self-esteem issues. So I want you to be the best that you could be. Don't compare yourself to anybody else, but always be the better version of yourself. Always show up more powerful the next day than you were the previous day. I'm going to tell you, it makes a whole lot of difference. So let's get into the program right now. Since I did the introduction and, just share some things out there with you, because I feel that it's needed. Okay. It's very much needed. And I want you to relax. I want you to feel, comfortable, because like I said, this is more than me talking back and forth with you. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm sorry I went on, talking about this without properly introducing myself. I'm Gertrude J. Chapman, and I'm the host of this show, Maximizing Your Potential. And like I said, stop leaving money on the table. Some of you may be struggling financially, but you're leaving money on the table because you have not come into the fullness of who you really are. So let's get into the program right now. The topic today is, what are you comparing your value to? I want that to sink in. What are you comparing your value to? If you even know of your value, has that even come to, your mind, that you have value, that you have worth, that you have treasures inside of you, that you have gems inside of you, and they're covered up. They may be covered up, just like I always use this, a diamond in the rough. And you know how a diamond, when you get it out of the ground, it's nothing like what you see once it's, prepared and properly, how would you say that? I won't say crafted. Maybe that's the word. Maybe it's not, and polished. Put it that way. It's properly polished and, cut, where you could see the brilliance and the radiance of it, and, the different faceted pieces of it. And that's what many of you may be. You're not seeing your value, and you've been comparing your value to something. So what are you comparing your value to? And how do you see yourself? Because like I said, the way you see yourself is what matters. It's not so much what you think other people see you as, but how do you see yourself? How do you see yourself? That's why get up in the morning and frame your day. And that tells you a lot about how you see yourself. I want you to see yourself as brilliance, as radiance. So let's get into this. And let me ask you this question. What is the estimate that you have of your value? What is the estimate that you have of your value? How would you rate yourself? What estimate can you give about yourself? And I know that's a loaded question, and I want you to think about that. So, write this down. If you have that piece of paper and pen, write it down. What is the estimate you have of your value? How do you value yourself? Let's go to the first talking point. Fear. Fear will cause a person, number one, to degrade themselves. I know y'all fear. We can say that word, but fear is real. Fear is real, but it's something that can be overcome. I was once fearful. Fear of speaking, fear of going here to places that I was unfamiliar with, Fear. Fear holds many people back. And some people allow fear to paralyze them, to keep them from going forward into great accomplishments. I could tell you that firsthand. There was a time in my life that I was very fearful. And I allowed fear to stop me from entering into things that would have been of great benefit to me at that particular time. But you have to know that you could overcome fear. Fear is a great paralyzer. Fear causes people, like I say, to degrade themselves, to think less than themselves, to fall into compromising, areas in their lives. Here's one right here: trying to fit in to a group or a clique or whatever it may be when you're made to stand out. These are some of the things that fear causes. Fear even causes people to harm themselves because they don't think that they're good enough. They don't think that they're worthy. And if you look at it, all of these things are coming from the root, which is fear. And it even causes people to see themselves as less than others. So that's the question. How do you see yourself? And what are you comparing your value to? Remember, you're unique and you're wonderfully made. And you shouldn't try to be a carbon copy of no one else. Just be you. And be unapologetic about it. If people don't like you, oh well. Okay? There's somebody out there for everybody. But don't degrade yourself. Don't lower your standards trying to fit in to people who don't appreciate who you are. If no one else appreciates you, you appreciate yourself because your opinion matters of yourself. You that matters. It's you. That's why framing your day, get in that mirror and appreciate yourself. Speak positive of yourself. Speak highly of yourself. See yourself as that uncompromising individual who loves themselves. And that's another topic for another day about the love. Okay? You have to first love yourself. Love who you see in the mirror. And I'm not talking about situations or circumstances or what you may have fallen into. Okay? Because those things can be overcome. And yes, they can. Don't think that you have fallen into a ditch that's too deep that you can't get out, or a hole that's, every time you're trying to climb out of it, the soil keeps covering you back up. Don't think that you can't come out, because yes, you can. You just need the strategies, the tools to know how to do these things. But these things can be overcome. But what are you comparing your value to? Don't compare your value to fear. Because I told you, there was one time in my life that I was very fearful. I was shy. I wouldn't talk to anybody. Like, you hear me talking, okay? Talking to you, communicating with you. And what? I'm 26 minutes into this program. 26 minutes. And the reason why I'm able to do this is because I'm bringing out value for you, to get you to see that there's more to you that's buried on the inside of you than you could ever imagine. So, coming out of myself in order to bring you benefits. So, how are you comparing your value? What are you comparing your value to? What are you comparing your value to? That makes all the difference. Here's another talking point. Situations and circumstances, Don't ever compare yourself to what you're going through or what you have going through. And don't allow anybody else to try to drag you into that by making you feel guilty or making you feel low, or, always holding something, over your head. A situation and a circumstance is only a temporary place. It's not supposed to be there forever, but it's according to your mindset. Okay? According to your mind. See, everything goes back to you. How you're seeing yourself. What are you comparing yourself to? You use a situation or a circumstance as a leveraging tool to get you to your next level. It comes to strengthen you. It comes to allow you to see what to do and what not to do. It allows you to be able to talk to somebody else and help them out of a situation or a circumstance. And why? Because you've been through it. You can't take anybody where you haven't been, but if you've been there, you certainly could shed the light of how to come out of something or how to avoid something. But never compare yourself to a situation or a circumstance. It's just something that you went through, and it's temporary. You have to learn to extract what's inside of you to meet your needs. And I don't know how long, you've been following me on this program, or you've been following me, because the program name has changed, but I'm still the same person. Okay? I'm still the same person. And I still have that one, aim, and that's to maximize your potential. Okay? But as I was climbing the corporate ladder, and, I wasn't feeling. I felt like, that there was something more for me. And this came, during the time during the housing crisis in 2005, 2006, when the housing market went bust. And I got laid off, double layoff, from one place, worked 7 months, at that place and got laid off again. Of course, through no fault of my own, with a bunch of other people. But I came to a point in my life where I had to go back and see what I had to work with. Because what was on the inside of me enabled me to be able to come out of a financial situation that had been caused because of the housing crisis. No matter how much you could think that you're preparing or prepare yourself or do everything that's right, you can still find yourself in a situation that can come to challenge you. And that came to challenge me. And not until I stopped looking at what was on the outside to alleviate the pain points that was happening in my life, and began looking at what I had on the inside to overcome that situation, that things began to turn around for me. So that's what I'm telling you. It's a temporary place. Learn how to extract what's inside of you to meet your need. Because everything that you go through in life, you already have those answers or, that solution on the inside of you. You already have it there. And you have to see these things that's on the inside of you. I call them your treasures, your gems. See these things as fuel, okay? When you're going through situations and circumstances, take what you have, because these situations and circumstances, you see them as fuel to get you to the next level. Because like I said, some of you, you may be on that surface or you're underneath the surface. And you constantly trying to scratch your way to the top out of that situation and circumstance, and things keep collapsing on you. But you have to come to the end of yourself and say enough is enough. Okay? Not until you come to the end of yourself and, recognize who you truly are and see what value, what worth, the brilliance that's on the inside of you. Not until you see that, acknowledge and receive that, will things begin to shift around. They will change. But don't ever put in, a situation and the circumstances and think that that's your worth, because it's not. It's just a temporary place. Here's the next talking point. Your inner appearance of yourself, not what's on the outside. So much people are concerned about what's on the outside, how I look on the outside, and you should be concerned about that. Okay? But the pretense has to stop. The pretense has to stop, because so many people have the mask. And I'm not talking about the pandemic mask. I'm talking about a mask that you've been wearing for 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. Okay? Of trying to be somebody that you're not. Trying to live up to somebody else's opinion of who you should be. Or trying to please your parents or your family or whatever. Just be you. And be unapologetic of who you are. And if they don't like it, oh well. And I know that might be a strong statement right there. If they don't like it, oh well. But that's that's my way that I think. If you don't like me, oh well. Okay? And you have to, come to that point. Your inner appearance of yourself. What do you see when you look at yourself directly in the eye? Or do you avoid that? Do you avoid looking at yourself directly in the eyes because you don't like what you see? That just means that you haven't come to the end of yourself, that you're still out there trying to fake it till you make it. And I hate that term. And I don't know why anybody uses it. And I've heard it used in all type of content. I even heard people use that in church. Fake it till you make it. Why? Why you got to be fake? There's nothing fake about, living your truth. There's nothing fake about that. And of all places in the church that's supposed to teach the truth, talking about fake it till you make it, deception. Don't deceive yourself. Don't, live in the deception of pretending. Just be you. Be you. But first you have to find out who you are. There's sometimes people surround themselves with people. They always, every time you see them, there's always people. There's people at their homes. There's people, at their jobs. Wherever they are, there's an entourage of people all around them. They never have that time alone. And it could be a sad situation. And I'm going to tell you the reason for that. Because sometimes people fear being alone. Because they don't want to be alone with themselves, where they could really face their truth, to really do something about, that pretense, or face those things that's going on in their lives and stand up and say, enough is enough. I'm going to be me. You don't have to force anybody to like you. If they don't like you, oh well, there's people out there that do like you. You just have to, get yourself together. And I promise you, when you're working on getting yourself together and valuing yourself and doing those things that you have to do to maximize your potential, there will be people that will come. Okay? They will come. You don't have to look for them. They will come. Because around us, we're energy. Okay? Everything about us is energy. Everything. We are atmosphere shifters. We are problem changers. We are solutions. We're somebody's hope. We're somebody's inspiration. We're somebody's motivation. And people are looking for you. People are looking for your voice. Whether you're that entrepreneur, or you're that author, or you're that speaker, or you're that business person, or whoever you are, somebody's looking for your voice. I want you to see yourself like that. I want you to see yourself as on the world stage. I'm bringing you out of your hiding place. Because some of you may be crawling and keep, settling back down. But there's some of you that's hiding behind excuses why you can't allow your greatness to show. Because number one, maybe you didn't understand because you can't see. When you can't see, you don't understand, you can't see. And so you want to remain in that comfortable place. But your appearance matters, your inner appearance, because it affects how you live daily, how you see yourself. What are your self-thoughts about yourself? What do you think constantly about yourself each and every day? What's in your mind? Those things have to change. Because when you think negative of yourself, when you think, bad things about yourself, that's the way you're going to see yourself. So if you have to change that inner conversation from those thoughts. Because, we constantly have an inner conversation going on. And it's not what, somebody else says about you that matters. It's really what you say about yourself, about what you agree to and say about yourself. And I'm going to bring that up in the next point. Okay. How are you physically seeing yourself? That's why I tell you, look through your, look at your eyes. Look directly in your eyes. Look and see. Because if you look directly in your eyes, in that mirror, you will see. You will see either strength or you'll see weakness. You'll see stability or you'll see instability. You'll see it. You will see. Now it's up to you to make that change. What are you comparing your value to? Sometimes people are used to being belittled. I had this young lady tell me one time that every time they had a family function, she was the butt of the jokes. People made light of her situation, or they always joked about her. Every time. And not until, she got married and her husband stepped in and told her, don't let this happen anymore. But she thought it was okay. How many of you are, allow that to happen to you, that you're the butt of jokes? People always think that they could tell you anything or say anything about you, and they all bust out laughing, and, even you laugh yourself, or, maybe you just sit there and you be quiet. And when you go home, maybe you cry or you feel some type of way. And you're wondering why, it happens to you over and over, because you accept it. And you don't have to accept that type of behavior. No one should be able to belittle you, because you have to teach people how to treat you. And first it starts, here it goes, back to you again. The ball's always in your court, about how you treat yourself. That's the way it starts. Treat yourself how you want other people to treat you. So this has to do a lot with the way you see yourself. You're not the laughing stock. People are not supposed to crack jokes about you. And there's different things that we do to have fun, but personally, cracking jokes about you, taking situations, circumstances, and bad things, or your appearance, or your tone of voice, or your name, and just cracking jokes, belittling you, don't allow people to cross those lines. You set boundaries. And when they see you, treating yourself a certain way, walking in your authority, in your truth, in, your appearance of yourself, they're going to take note of that. They're going to see that they can no longer do those things to you. Those things that offend you, those things that make you feel, bad or little about yourself, or, those things. Don't compare your value to what people say about you and think it's okay. Seeing it as normal by being the butt of jokes. No, set those boundaries. Treat yourself the way you want other people to treat you, because now it teaches them how to treat you. And it's okay to say no, y'all. It's okay to say no. And if they get mad, my question, my answer. Oh, well. Oh, well, take care of yourself first, because you can't pour from an empty vessel. First, you have to be filled. And some of you are running on E, okay? And lower than E. And I mean that needle has dropped low, just like fuel, okay, in the car. E, for empty, F for full. You're running on E. And some of you are just on fumes. And that shouldn't be. That shouldn't be. Because you are a person. You have value and you have work. So what are you comparing your value to? Now, let me go to the last talking point to get you to reconnect with your truth. That's so, so very important. Reconnecting with your truth, your purpose, your value, who you are. Your inner image, your truth. Remember, you're not like anybody else. Only be you. Self-care 101. Take time to get to know the real you. Take that time out. Find out who you really are. Not who people think that you should be. Not who they have said you should be. But who are you? Who are you? See, I'm not the one that's climbing up the corporate ladder for somebody else. If, I'm the one climbing up my own ladder with my own business to be an inspiration for you ladies who have lost your self-confidence or your self-esteem or don't even know how to connect with your truth. See, it makes a big difference. Finding who you truly are and walking and being unapologetically you, walking in your truth. See, two things were coming to me at the same time. It makes a big difference. Not existing, but living my life on purpose and living my life with purpose. To be able to see for you what you can't see for yourself. To get you on the other side of your pain points, where now you could catch it. You could identify with it and change the trajectory of how you see yourself. That's beauty for me. That is, beauty for me. I love it. I love it when the light bulb comes on in my client's life, where they find out what their purpose for living is, not just existing, but their purpose for living. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. Connect to your power source, because that's your lifeline. Your power source is your truth. Everything goes back to truth. Be true to you. Be true to you. Don't worry about somebody else, but be true to you. Because once you're connected, I'm going to tell you, you're going to find yourself at peace. That's that peace that passes no, understand. It's that peace, that inner peace. It's just like that inner joy. Peace of mind. Peace in, your thoughts. Having peace. Having that joy. That's a different position than operating out of fear and operating, out of instability. Because it gives you a foothold. It gives you a stand. It gives you even an erectness about your standing. Okay? Because now it gives you that authority to press through those situations. I'm going to tell you, not even press through the situation. When you standing in your full authority, situations are just going to move out your way. Let me put it that way. They're going to move out your way. Instead of when you're not in your full authority, when you unstable, when you're living in that pretense, when you're faking it till you make it. That's when things come to, overtake you. They come to tear you down. But once you stood up and you use fear as that stepping stone or that launching pad, it's a tool that comes to sharpen you. It's a different story. It's a different story. See, once the young lady, and I'm talking about myself, who in high school was afraid to speak because I had nothing to say for just 1 minute. And like I said, 1 minute is a long time when you don't have anything to say and you can't see, you're not connected with your truth. It's a long time. And many of you are in a situation because you're not connected with your truth. But once you connect with your truth, hey, you could talk, because what I'm into 51 minutes right now. 51 minutes. And I've brought value to your life. Seeing for you what you can't see for yourself. And inspiring you that it's time to stop hiding. It's not time to come out from the excuses, or it's time to rise up from where situation and circumstances has kept you and live your truth. Because once you understand, okay, fear is consumed. Fear is assumed. Understanding takes away fear, because now you can see. Wisdom is the principal thing. But with all that getting, get an understanding. So what are you comparing your value to? How do you see yourself? It makes a big difference. And I talked about fear. I talked about situations and circumstances. I talked about your inner appearance of yourself. I talked about you allowing people to belittle you. And I'm talking about reconnecting with your truth, because your truth will make a big difference in your life. So I hope that what I have shared with you today has brought value to you and has allowed you to see that it's okay to be unapologetically you. But for the most part, I want you to see yourself as having value, ladies, and having worth. And there may even be some gentlemen on here, because I have a group of men that follow me also. Okay? This is for everybody, but especially you ladies. 79% of y'all have a form of low or no self-esteem, or low or no self-confidence. And I'm trying to build you up to realize that you have purpose, that you have work, that you are filled with treasures and gems on the inside that's able to take you to the next level in life, where you're not just existing, but you're living your life on purpose. So thank you for taking this time out with me today on Maximizing Your Potential. I'm your host, Gertrude J. Chapman, and I hope to see you the next time. So I want you to remember this. This is your time. This is your season. This is your turning point. So have a great rest of your day.